everyone. Welcome to today's evening session where we are going to talk a lot about so many things that we will learn from our guest for this evening's HR Speak. But even before that, let's go back to the week that is ending today, as in tomorrow. And this eventful week embarked the 73rd Republic Day with the iconic parade in Delhi. And this was also marking the 75th anniversary of India's independence being observed as Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav across the country. The Prime Minister also unveiled a hologram statue of freedom fighter Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose at India Gate in New Delhi, marking to honor Bose's 125th birth anniversary. So with this eventful week that went by, I would now be happy to welcome you all to today's HR Speak Season 4, Episode 7 with Suman Mitra, who is VP HR for BOSCH Ltd. Thank you all the guests and all the members who have joined today's session. Being a weekend, there are several choices on self-development programs, webinars, discussions, forums. You've chosen to spend the next 1 hour with NHRDN Kolkata Chapter's HR Speak. So thank you to all of you who have joined today's program.
Thank you, Sweata, for hosting it. Let me have the honor to tell about you also that, thanks for hosting this, and thanks to NHRDN Kolkata Chapter also, which is very close to my heart as well.
That's right. Thank you so much for that. So introducing Suman. Suman Mitra is an experienced HR professional with decades of enriching experience in HR. He has an extensive work exposure in multiple domains of HR. He has worked with multinationals like HUL and also served Tractors India Limited, erstwhile for Gainwell. He has done research on employee relation in countries like Singapore, Philippines, etc. He is also a certified trainer on employee relation and organization for economic cooperation and development matters. A certified coach from Coaching Federation of India. He is a guest lecturer at SCMHRD for Symbiosis HRD department, TIS, IGTC, Indo-German Training Center, and several other institutes. He holds keen interest in CSR initiatives as well. He's a passionate writer and has published several articles based on HR. So this is the introduction to Suman, which we would want to give. So what is it that you want to tell us about you? Over to you.
No, I think you have briefed the professional part of it, but let me, to bring it on a lighter note, I call myself accidental HR professional. If you ask me what I would have loved to be, I would have loved to be a cricketer because I had played for first division cricket, but prior to that, school cricket, college cricket. Now, in a middle class family, always it happens at some point of time, parents will ask, what are you going to do? Everybody doesn't become Saurabh Ganguly or so many other cricketers from Bengal. And then accidentally, I had started initially to do the ICWA costing. Then after passing inter, I found out that, it's not my cup of tea. I was passionate about people. And then at that point of time, way back in 1992, 93, there are some HR professionals who were there at the leading positions in Calcutta. At that point of time, Calcutta was, a lot of industries were there too, and head offices were there. So I think at that point of time, I found interest in HR. So therefore, And then now it has become a passion for me over the past 26, 27 years. So that's about me as because of that, I call it myself as an accidental HR professional. In my family, I would say that, in my home, I'm a minority community because surrounded with three ladies, mother, wife, and daughter. That's about me. And anything or everything, if you talk about HR, I'll be interested to speak about it. What I do in pastime, yes, I read a lot of journals. I try to write something, and definitely I love music. And So therefore, recently, what I have done after coming to Calcutta, for a holiday and then now doing work from home, I think in Hindustan Park, I went there when I heard there is a cafe in the name of Rahul Dev Burman. So I went there, had a Rahul Dev Burman song, and then coffee. So that's about me. I enjoy life. That's about me, Sheta. I'm unable to hear you, Sheta.
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yes, that now it's fine. Yeah.
Thank you so much. So this is a very good balance of diversity at home. And so great to hear from you that how it's a 90-10, which we strive to get in organizations, or probably aiming for a lesser ratio in every organization, balancing it out between the diversified groups that we want to encourage working together in the ecosystem of an organization. So, in the words of Rahul Dravid, you don't win or lose the game because of 11 you select. You win or lose with what those 11 do on the field. This is something that I got in once we were speaking about how HR becomes a part of the business stakeholder ecosystem and bring the entire uh, workforce to action together. What do you have to say about this?
I would say that, there are some people who talk about, I think we ourselves in HR have done a lot of introspection, or research with the HR profession. And we call it ourselves now HR business partner. So I have a problem with this terminology because no one talks about the commercial or function, financial business partner or something like that. HR is not a business partner. HR is into business. Okay, in a 11 people cricket team like that, an organization cannot run without a HR. So therefore, coaching can be given to Rahul Dravid, can be given to Ravi Shastri, can be given to Gary Kirsten, under whose coaching we have won World Cup. But HR has to play, and HR has to play being in the business. And if we do not understand the business, then we are not doing anything. And so, therefore, in an organization, I would say that there are three in a tripod. There is one side is CEO, another side is HR, and another one leg could be either a marketing or a finance function, whatever it is. So that should be that's where the HR position is today.
Okay, so great. That's a great introspection of what the world looks like from the HR angle, and how do we play in the field as one of the team members. So, with that, sir, would you like to take us through the global assignments that you have been a part of and how it all worked out?
I would say that global assignments, if we look at why multinationals will come to India and not China. Okay, let us forget about the political tension what we have between India and China. But China is far, far ahead of us as of now. And since I have worked in two multinationals, so when I used to have discussions with my German counterparts currently in the current organization, that why they should choose India over China or forget about China, it could be any Southeast Asian countries like Malaysia, Singapore, Philippines, all of them. So if
That's right.
India has to shine in the manufacturing, they have to look at all these countries to understand and learn. If you look at China, a little bit of data, let me give you. In the year of now we are in 2021, but if you look at 1000, at that point of time, GDP of India and China were at same level, 20-25%, 30% GDP. That was there. And if you look at, while India has received its independence in 1947, now China has formed the People Republic of China at around 1950. Okay, so we are in the same basically whatever transformation we have started in the same timeline. But if you look at currently China economy is around $15.3 trillion economy. India is still at around 3%, $3 trillion economy. But we have a huge scope. We have a huge scope to go. If we look at any China, if we look at China has a very clear vision, what they want to do till 2045. I don't know how many of you have read their vision plan. We also, India has a plan, but I felt the China vision plan is much more robust. They are very clear that they would like to do from high speed to high quality growth. They are now not talking about high speed growth, which they were talking about past 10, 15 years. That's number one. Number two, they are also talking about automated NC machines and robotics. While they are also highly population growth country like India, but they are focusing on automated machines and robotics. They are talking about high-end intelligent, and they are talking about green production. So any organization going into green production, we have to do that. And the last part is they are highly focusing on digital manufacturing ecosystem. So without digital, without the connected industry, your factory is not going to produce. They will not be able to meet up the cost for which you can invite your multinational organization, either European organization or American organization, into India to do the business. So I would say that let's have a benchmark with them. How do we do ourselves with those factories, with those in those countries, and then look for what best can be done. Because if we look at even if I give you current company where I am there, if I compare with one of the BOSCH plant in India and one of the BOSCH plant is in China, in terms of salary, they may be 20% higher than what we are paying. But in terms of productivity, they are 5x. So therefore, let us look at those parameters if we have to beat China.
That's a great introspection again, where you're telling us to take away from a country which is focusing on high speed and high productivity. Now, considering that we would want to learn from a country which is focusing on these two elements, what, according to you, are the knowledge, skill, and attitude the group of 45 learners who have joined in here should keep as priority on their mind to go back and hone themselves on?
I would say that today what we are trying to do as HR, I think organization is going to give us value or going to pay us a good salary because of we need to have a strong entrepreneurship skill, which means that it has to be looked into that it's my business. If it would have been my business, what I should have done, number one. Number two, we need to have a desire to growth. Okay, if we do not have desire to growth, is a problem. So that's second point. Any status quo is not good. Okay, any status quo is not good. On a lighter note, only wife and husband is good. Status quo, it's okay, fine. But in an industry, it has to be diversified, and no status quo is going to create a problem the moment you are in status quo. Now, do we have eagerness to learn or willingness to learn? And there has to be clear openness. So I would say that if I have to talk about openness for me is fast carryover to fast evolver. What does it mean? That you can copy and go into that level, but how can you become a fast evolver? And as HR professional, I would say there is nothing called best. Best can be beaten by next day. Okay. So therefore, I would say what I am trying to practice or learn, how can I imagine next? So anything which is happening in industry today, how can I break that ceiling and go to the next level? So I think as a HR professional, we should look into the growth which is fantastically being done by Leena. Leena Nair, I admire her. Today morning I spoke to her because I congratulated her becoming CEO in Channel.
That's right.
I should learn from her, and then we all should learn from her and break the glass ceiling in everywhere. And HR can become a CEO as well.
That's right. That is a definitely a great example of how paradigm shift can be achieved, and decisions can be made to maneuver career from HR to business. Suman, when you say that these are some of the attributes that we need in us or inculcate in us, and these are imperative for us to take it to the next level, and best is not the best, best can be beaten, then what, according to you, the Indian workforce has to imbibe within them to outshine China in terms of strengths?
That's a great question, Shweta. That's a great question, fantastic question. Let me share with you my insight. First and
Sure,
foremost
thank you.
criteria is, people talks about in West Bengal, there are labor problem. If you go anywhere in the country. But since now I can claim that I have worked most of the parts of country, apart from Jammu and Kashmir and beyond Assam, I would say that we had done a mistake, maybe by, I don't want to pinpoint anybody, the kind of issue we have in terms of industrial relation in Calcutta, that's there everywhere. Number one. Number two is, I don't believe personally there is something called labor problem. All are management problems. The way we have handled them in the past, today we cannot handle them accordingly. So therefore, there is nothing called labor problem. It's a management problem like any other country. Now I have insights on China, what is happening, Philippines, what is happening. So therefore, I can strongly claim there is nothing called labor problem. It's a management problem, first of all. Second is, I think collectively, there is nothing called blue collar workmen or white collar managerial stuff, etc. It's about we. We need to have a very strong customer centricity, strong collaboration between both of us. Can we embrace the targets? And we should embrace also failure culture. Something somewhere, definitely, if you try to innovate, failures will happen. Now, organization should have the ability to accept that failure, and HR can play a fantastic role or a catalytic role there to accept the failure culture. So therefore, then only the organization and its people will go for challenging tasks, risk-taking tasks with a clear accountability, and that will develop a strong cooperation. So those are the things I would say definitely will take us to the next level.
Thank you so much for that, Suman. That was completely what needs to be thought about by the workforce today, with the changing dynamics, not only in the way HR is working, but the adaptability with which it has to work to the current ecosystem. Now, given these facts, Suman, what are your learnings from the highs and lows you have experienced in your career? So give us a little bit of insight into how your enriching journey has been and what can be the learnings from the journey.
I would say that, with so many organizations in so many places with different places and different roles, I would say there are issues which came to me, which was challenging, and I didn't have the solution at that point of time. So the organizations have pushed me to innovate myself about those ideas. And all of these things are possible. We can learn. There are multiple organizations who have failed. Okay. I think we should look at why great organization fails. So therefore, the moment we look at those things and introspect and try to do something new, it's always we should look at, how a world-class HR organization should look like. What are the keys to high performance? All these things we should look like. Now, today, if I have to give you example, if you look at Netflix, let me give you an example of Netflix, which is today's organization. Netflix, they don't have a HR department today. Basically, they don't have HR department, but they have HR people who are running the business, who are we are making the business managers to become a better HR professional, because they have to handle the people. There is no so-called HR is today is not about creating a policy. It's not at all. Policies has to be flexible today. We cannot create a policy which will run for next 5 years. It can change in 1 year time, and we need to have the flexibility to attract new talents. Otherwise, they are not going to be with us.
Okay. So a lot of flexibility and agility is that we are talking about at this moment. And while all these things are coming about as learnings from what the competition or what is changing in the dynamics of HR working system, what according to you will be the future of HR? And let's spend some good amount of time here, because what would be those competencies and skills that you would recommend to the group here?
That's again a fantastic question, Sweata, and I must say thank you for that to you, because it's one of my pet questions, because I'm continuously, which is haunting me every night, every day, that, how the future of HR will look like. So I have to guide people, I think three things. First of all, let us look at innovation. Are we innovating? That's number one. Are we collaborating? Number two. And last is, are we committing ourselves to that cause, or we are telling the organization that we will deliver this? Okay. But again, we need to understand, when we talk about commit, collaborate, and your innovate. So we should understand what innovation means. Say for example, leader staying in the course is not an innovation. You are supposed to do that. That's a basic criteria. But yeah, leaders taking a stand, that's innovation. I would say that we should understand all these things. What is collaboration? Collaboration is sharing a greater purpose. Can we create a better purpose? That's collaboration. Cooperation is not a collaboration at all. It's not a collaboration at all. Cooperation you have to do in an ecosystem if you have to survive. We can give multiple examples. Committed leadership style, what is that? Taking a stand. Highest of expectations, those are committed leadership. But what is that committed leadership is not? A leader who is talking about that but not embracing it, not practicing it, is not a leadership commitment at all. Now, managing expectation is not a leadership commitment at all. So therefore, we should understand what is this innovation means, what is this collaboration means, and commitment means. I think that will take us to the next level. So that will make us world-class HR leaders, and we will be able to tell people that this is the definition of a world-class HR leaders or world-class organization.
That's great. Thank you so much, Suman. And in the words of the renowned coach Marshall Goldsmith, it's all about what got you here won't get you there.
Absolutely.
And the communication and the words of wisdom we got from you are totally directing towards how it's important and imperative for each one of us to have a vision beyond what we are thinking, and to bring in these elements within us to be successful and emerge as next leaders in the fraternity of HR. So with that, Suman, we are taking an outside in approach. Let us give us a little bit of glimpse into some of your experience stories from which you have evolved to where you are today, so that we can have a sneak peek into what went on with your life for so many years. And here we have Suman Mitra, an achiever, a believer in factors which can bring in high performance and high productivity in the ecosystem through the elements of innovation, commitment, and collaboration?
Again, very intelligent question, Shweta. I think I'll not, I can give multiple examples in my career where I have negotiated with terrorists in Assam, Ulfas, where I have, handled multiple board meetings where board members were very critical board members. But what is that helped me? I would like to talk about that. The first and foremost thing, today, if you look at, I don't know if 40, 45 people today has gathered here, what is that they are going to get out of it? I think they have a strong purpose or commitment towards NHRDN Kolkata. So when you are in a profession, when you are doing something, look at the organization purpose and why somebody will hire you. I think that needs to be looked into and introspection should be done. Number one. Number two, we should think continuously that are we breaking paradigms? If we are not breaking our paradigms, we are not questioning our past sometimes. We don't have to tell anybody, but it's required to talk about can we question our past? Can we question our assumptions? All these things are very important. Are we a radical listener? What does it mean? That don't consider that what you hear may be possible. Okay, so that's about radical listening. And ask multiple questions to understand. Speak with clarity. Here in this case, I would advise everybody that whatever content you have in your presentation, in your subject matter, you have to first create the context first. Okay, so therefore, I always talk about content is king, but the context is God. The moment, if you are not getting an approval, your context, you have to look into your context. Have you cleared the context to your business manager to get approval or something like that? So you need to speak with clarity, speak with joy. When you are talking about it, you should personally believe that it's going to happen. Okay, because leadership is nothing but creating possibilities and making those possibilities into reality. That's only the leadership, according to me, the definition of leadership. Make it happen. Then once you create, declare, I would say that plan, publish, perform. You first plan and then tell to the entire world that I'm going to do this. At that point of time, people may not believe you, and then perform. If you have, if you have looked into that, you have reached, you would like to reach to the moon. But again, taking the quote from a lot of internets, you will get these quotes that if you do not go into the moon, at least you will land in among the stars. So this is very important that make it happen. Care for people, very important. Very important. If you do not have empathy as you go into the leadership role, you are not a leader at all. So appreciate small breakthroughs. Anybody has done small things, please appreciate. Reward outstanding performance. And first and foremost thing, I think I have personally believed I cannot work with anybody, if I do not have trust and relationship. Because in various leaders I have seen they don't trust, I cannot work. So for me, I approach anything and everything which I like, which I address from trust. And why should you mistrust somebody if something has not been done by somebody? So therefore, trust and relationship and care for people is very good. But that doesn't mean I'm asking you to carry the day dudes. Don't carry the day dudes who is not going to create your collaborate with you for to perform for the larger purpose. Don't carry the day dude. Have a discussion with them, convert them from day dudes to sandalwood, and then go for it. That's your role as a leader. And create a competitive environment. This, now the industry, now the entire world is about competition. And so therefore, let us create a competitive environment, to make people aware that what is going to be there. And then you have a winning team. So therefore, we should create champions of champions, man of the month, a team of the quarter. All these things are possible to create in an ecosystem. So that's about all these things. I would say these are the things which I follow. And finally, you can have a lot of tension, you can have sleepless nights in everything, but finally stay fit and stay cool. That's it, with a fantastic smile.
Thank you so much for that, Suman. And that's the difference that makes the difference. And in the words of Stephen Covey, it's the speed of trust that makes the
Yeah,
difference. Thank
absolutely.
you so much. So, with that, I'm not holding back the audience anymore. There are some very good comments which have already come in. Shoibal said it's great insight, and Kostov adds on to it saying that great going with superb experience sharing. We have a question as well from Saroni,
Mhm.
and she would want to know how can we deliver across various HR functions, keeping in mind that virtual is new normal, starting from recruitment, L&D, engagement, etc. So I would also request the audience now to write your comments and questions in the chat box, and we are open for discussion henceforth. So
Uh,
over to you, Shuman.
Thank you, Sheta. I think it's a fantastic question. I would say that now you do not have a choice, and I have seen in my personal experience. I can tell 3 to 4 years back, managers used to crib that as HR, if we declare okay, people has to do 1 day work from home in a week. Okay, the managers used to crib, but I think pandemic lockdown has helped us to understand, and those managers are also understanding that it may not be possible every time to have a physical connection. And last 2 years, I think all of us have evolved, learned new things to make it happen. So therefore, I would say that in our software business, where we employ 30,000 people in Bangalore, Coimbatore, Pune, last 2 years they have operated totally work from home, and we had a business growth of 30% in that software business. In the manufacturing part, it is not possible. But in the corporate office, I would say that past 2 years, our presence in the office was it range between 30% to 50%. But everything has worked. Our turnover has increased, our profitability has increased. So if you talk about HR, yeah, so HR will be there. And then I think again, I would say that whenever you are creating some policy, you are asking somebody to join, to onboard your company, do online onboarding. Look at from an empathetic lens that if that would have happened to you, how would have dealt? You would have dealt, or how you would have felt. So in our case, what we have done, onboarding laptop, we have sent laptops to their home. You don't know whether that person or lady will join us, but you send it. How does it matter? You have to trust somebody. Number one. Number two, we were not getting a scope of appreciation. One day I had called up in one of the meeting, which was no agenda meeting at 5 p.m. or 4:30 p.m. on a Friday. And I had sent from ITC Gardenia five-star hotel a snack packet platter to everybody, all HR team. And we told that we are going to have this, enjoy this with the family. So engagement, strategic workforce planning, onboarding, performance appraisal, everything is possible on board remotely. No criteria.
That's great. And it kind of takes us to the next query
Yeah.
from one of our guests. What emotional competencies that you feel that HR leaders should develop during these trying times?
I would say that now we are also measuring, emotional quotient when we are putting somebody into a leadership role. So we are measuring them under emotional quotient. And I don't know whether you are aware that NHRDN has done a fantastic course on emotional competency, emotional quotient competency building in NHRDN Kolkata chapter, and I was participant to that. So while my emotional quotient is very strong, but I thought, let me learn something. And when I had learned that something, and then I have implemented that in my organization. Along with me, there are other 2, 3 colleagues from HR who had I had told them to join, and then accordingly they had joined. So therefore, I would say that emotional quotient, you can learn the tools, but somehow I think we have to help each other to because at the end of at beginning, when you are starting the meeting, please ask if everybody is fine or not, if everybody's family members are fine or not. And if somebody is not fine, please allow them to not to work, and tell them that everything can, because family health, everything is priority, not the work will happen. And another thing, people also talk about these work-life balance, etc. I would say that there are two leaders with whom I echo. One is Nitin Paranjape. Nitin Paranjape was CEO of Unilever in India, and then now he has become CHRO of global CHRO after Lina left, and current chairman of Unilever, Hindustan Unilever in India, Sanjeev Mehta. If you hear them, they will all talk about it's your work-life balance. The organization can support you, but they cannot manage you. It's you who have to manage. If you feel that I'm going to work 2 days and deliver result, go ahead and do it.
Okay, so it's about work-life integration.
Yes.
And not balance anymore.
No.
Moving on, thank you so much for that. And that was like a thought that came, and the work-life integration that I'm saying is something I learned in my journey, in my career as well. What you spoke about just
Absolutely,
brought it back
absolutely.
again.
Absolutely, Seta. It's not that 9 to 5 I have to work. I can open laptop at 11 o'clock in the night. That suits me. I'm enjoying the work. Am I passionate about work? If I'm not passionate, let us not do that.
That's great. And moving on to Shayan Mukherjee, how change management can follow for any acquisition?
Acquisition, I have a training session, then I have to do that training session on change management in acquisition, because a lot of acquisition I have done in past 6-7 years. Not only that, I have been carved out business also from Bosch India. So even carve out was very difficult for Bosch. From Bosch, who has worked there for 20 years, 25 years. At that point of time, when we had told them that we are going to sell this business to any other company, it was, you need high emotional quotient or handling of people at that point of time. Now, when you are acquiring something, I think first and foremost uh, criteria, you have to look at the employee, what they are looking for. You have to address their issue. Okay, I can tell you a small story. When first of all, Lipton was acquired by Brook Bond, and then Brook Bond was acquired by Hindustan Unilever Limited. And now, if you look at still the office, which is Calcutta office of Unilever in India, it still uh, calls Brook House. Okay, so therefore, because that was a demand, or that was the expectation from the employees, sentiment. So we had made that, it's Brook House. That's number one. Number two, brand. Your Lipton brand is very strong brand, which Unilever still today exists, and they are operating. And whenever any emotional connect is there, I think change management is nothing but develop that emotional connect with the new organization, so that they feel that they are part of this new acquisition, new organization when the acquisition is happening. That's the key of your, of you winning the hearts of people. Otherwise, your business is nothing. Business, debit, credit, money will come, money will go, product will sell. But if you emotionally connect with people, I think for any acquisition or business carve out, that is important. How can you give the safety net to the people who you are onboarding? So I would say that's the preliminary criteria.
Thank you so much. And this is connecting back to where we started, the empathy factor.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was the keynote of the communication when we started discussing today. So moving on to Shalu Singh's question, what is your views on the leadership style in the new normal? Traditional leadership will still be relevant, or transformational leadership style needs to be adopted by organization?
First and foremost criteria, traditional leadership style. There is nothing called traditional leadership style. Leadership style has to change each and every day based on the circumstances. That's number one. So there is nothing called traditional leadership style. I can only tell you what I am trying to do. I am trying to do in Bosch, past 1 year or 1.5 years. We have launched a program which is a transformational leadership. And transformational leadership is nothing but we have partnered with EY and we are working on this topic of transformational leadership. That means who is going to run our business in 2027, 2030, 2025. We are working on that. That's number one. Number two, what we are doing, there is a BOSCH competency model. We are looking at those competency model that leading self, leading others, are those relevant, or can we take those competency models to the next level? Okay. Next level means what do you want in 2027, 2030? You need digital talent. So your leadership has to be digital. Everything has to be digital. So we have developed those definitions. What does it mean for us? And accordingly now, what we are doing, we are basically trying to understand the current leaders who are there with a Hogan assessment. That's number one. Number two, we are also taking a 360-degree feedback from their people, the peers, the subordinates, the bosses, and then we will have a discussion with them what they feel a future of leadership for which they will become relevant not only for BOSCH, for the industry. So that's the work we are doing. To answer your question, transformational leadership is the key, and that is going to help us in the future. Without that, there is we are not going to survive. Because ecosystem is changing. If the leaders are not changing, they will perish. As simple as that.
Thank you so much for that, Suman. Sujit wants to know how the transformation exercise in organizations, particularly in today's time, impact HR. What would be HR leader understanding of his role here to adapt with the situation?
HR is with the transformation. There is nothing going to be impacted by HR. HR is the custodian of transformation. So therefore, HR has to lead the transformation. Whatever last 3 years again, in BOSCH, I had done a lot of transformation in terms of, yes, we have shredded the jobs as well. But as HR, you have to create that story that why somebody is not relevant for the future and he or she has to go out. Number one. Number two, as HR, you need to wear your human heart. And how do you protect them? So that, we know in India, there is nothing, no social security. So how do you protect them? That's your job as HR, to negotiate with your organization, putting your, strong footprint. So I would say that last 3 years, yes, I can openly tell we had taken out 2,000 people, but none of them are unhappy today, because after that, I am still connected with them to ensure that their money, it's invested properly. And I'm also talking about starting from vice president level to last workman. We had done that exercise, but as HR, you have to take that pain to help the people, because like finance guys are custodian of money, I think we are the custodian of people. So it's our job to protect human, and that's our job. I think we are the leader for transformation, and we have to lead this transformation from the front to drive any organization. Now, why we have made those transformation? Because that to make BOSCH relevant for the future, to make the organization fit for future. But those people, they have spent 20 years, 25 years time in BOSCH. They have grown up, but they may not be relevant for the future organization. We have done this transformation in Unilever also when I was there. But again, all these things, you have to lead it. You have to ensure business survives. You have to ensure people survives.
That's great. How do we become the custodian for people matters is what Absolutely. Takes us to the next level in the digital world that we are working in. And just to connect the dot, it's a thought that is coming to my mind now. We are hearing a lot about social intelligence. What is the relevance and connect? Or if there is a sweet spot that can be achieved between being a custodian of people and working in the digital ecosystem, and how does social intelligence play a role in it?
Again, thank you, Sweata, for asking intelligent question. That is again one of the topic which is very close to my heart. There are two parts of it. When you talk about social intelligence, one is about mental well-being. Okay, how your employees mental well-being are. That's number one. Number two, financial well-being. These are the two parts. If these two things are fine, then definitely you can you can decide, you can feel that your employees are happy. Now, coming back to both this topic, mental and financial well-being, people cannot be open, cannot be vocal. They will not talk about it. If I am suffering something inside, and there are issues with me, with my family, etc., I'll not be able to do that. So 1.5 years back, when I was trying to think something to implement, how can I reach to my people who are there working for BOSCH, working for us, and how do I know this mental well-being part of them? It's a great thing to know. Then we had created there's an organization called One to One Health. We had onboarded them, and then we had created multiple network, multiple initiatives to so that people goes to them. But again, after 6 months, we realized that yes, one to one is there, they are helping, but there are very few footprints which is there. Okay, because people are still reluctant to go and unable to talk about problems to a third party, forget about the organization. Okay, then we are really looking for another thing, and how can we create something which is a bot driven, it's a digital, okay, bot driven digital. And I can tell you that I'm very happy that I had done first a pilot in the month of August 2021 and September 2021 with 500 people. There is an app called Wysa, WYSA, and it's there in my mobile also. Wysa, it's a AI-driven bot where if you are not feeling good, you can go to that app and speak to them. Okay, so it's no human, nothing. And Wysa is doing very good. I would say that once I got an experience in the month of January, I had launched it for all 3,500 people in my organization. And if you go to that, that bot is going to talk about you. And even I was playing with that bot that no, I'm not feeling well. I'm feeling I should commit suicide and all those things. And bot is continuously giving me a positive message to bring me on track, and also sending me the information if it is so critical that somebody has reached to the level of suicide or something like that, or committing. Okay, and I would say that in last one, I would not say from August till I would say January, February, last month I got a data. We could able to save two employees from the suicide portion, and then they have come to the track, because one was having the problem with his wife, and the lady was having problem with her husband. So that's a great thing. We could able to save two lives. That's two. And coming to another thing, financial well-being. Now we have also partnered with another organization. We're going to talk about financial well-being, how you can make a better person financially on whatever salary you are getting. So
Okay.
that's it. That's my innovation which I have tried there.
So AI gives us the human touch,
Absolutely,
and we save
absolutely,
lives.
absolutely.
That's so commendable, and I'm so awestruck. I forgot that there are questions on the chat box of Zoom as well. So we have got another question from Hirak Sen, and he asked, with aggressive digitization of HR and replacing traditional jobs with AI guided processes, do you think HR should develop project management skill as a necessary competence?
Yeah, absolutely. And then let me tell you, Hirak, what is going to happen in HR. Now I am developing an organization structure in BOSCH. Already it is launched there. There is no hierarchy in HR. While in terms of designations, money, there will be some people. But whenever there is a problem comes, it's an agile team which is going to come. It's a project team which is going to come. And various HR people will come with their competency, somebody with a component competency, somebody with talent acquisition competency. All these things will come and they will develop, they will work like a project team or a agile team or a scrum approach, and then deliver that. Because tomorrow's hierarchy to organization is nothing but hierarchy. It's about digital, it's about agile, it's about no structure organization. Those whatever we have done 20 years back, that creating organization structure, that's not going to help us. There is nothing called organization structure. everybody are coming there. There's the organization problem, and that has to be resolved, I would say. So agile team is the key. And automation, if you do not want also, it will not happen. So if I can give you a Deloitte data point, I was looking at a Deloitte data point. They have already told the 2030, I would say 60% job which will be there in 2030, they doesn't exist today in 2022. So therefore, whoever is having, child with 10 years, 15 years, don't tell them that what they should do. They are smart enough. They will find out something and do it. And it has to be, everything has to be AI and digital.
Thank you so much. And that's a great, great recommendation that, how we want to shape up the future of children, and how the future of children have also become unpredictable with the changing world and what we are adapting to in the world. And so we're taking the last question in from Poonam Burman, and she asks that she wants to have your view on how the future of work, hybrid working, remote location, teams and gig talent, and HR managers and culture of organization all sync in together.
Thanks, Poonam, for asking this question. I think both of us have worked together in Unilever. I would say, the organizations are continuously evolving. So tomorrow, remote work is a possibility, and now we are deciding in our factories what are those positions. If they do not come to the office, we can deliver results. So if they are capable to deliver results, we are telling them, don't come to the office. If you wish, you come. Otherwise, there is no mandate from the organization or HR. That's number one or two. Second question is, in any organization, BOSCH is a very process-driven organization. We always see that, you have to punch, you have to go out, punching out and all those things. For a safety purpose, this is okay, not to earn your salary. So from January 1st, we are removing all this punching business. We should trust people. That's number two. And number three, we are not asking to take leave approval. It's a self-approval. So if it's your leave, if you want to take leave, just inform your line manager. You are not supposed to get an approval or so-called approval. So the organization is continuously changing, and I think what is, as HR, I would say that what we are focusing on to give emotional quotient for the HR people, to bring emotional quotient for the business, and how we can make the business as people, so much of people manager. We are trying to concentrate on more and more on people manager, and so that's going to be the key, because there will be no hierarchy. And in any organization, there will be positions for the namesake, I would say, but roles will be different. Again, for the future, there is, we used to deal with a lot of JDs, job description. For me, job description is no more relevant, because BOSCH, last year we had started opening up a new business which is called platform business, which a kind of startup company. Now, if I have to tell them policies and procedures, etc., their business is not going to fly. So I have to give them flexibility. I have to tell managers, if manager tells, yes, I would like to give them increments, four times increments in a year, I have to agree that, yes, because that's the business about, that it's not a traditional business. So therefore, the business is changing, it's stepping up continuously. And I think as HR, we have to always look for that. And again, I quote every time that let's imagine next. That's going to be the key. And nothing is going to be there, very straightforward. This is going to valid for next 5 years. This is going to valid for 3 years. It's not going to happen. Things will change overnight. The new normal is VUCA world, and we have to adapt. I think adaptability is the key. The more we adapt, more we will be relevant for the organization, and organizations will hire us, and HR remains in the business relevant.
That's right. Thank you so much, Suman. And in the benefit of time, we would now want to conclude today's discussion of bringing in such thoughtful, innovative, collaborative, and commitment-full of insights, reflections, uh, competence, skills required for emerging as next HR as fraternity. And in the spirit of the 73rd Republic Day and the upcoming 75th Independence Day, I, from the NHRD Kolkata chapter, would want to humbly thank you for such a great learning 1 hour, which kept us thinking not only from the angle of self development, but from the angle of having a vision, a futuristic mindset, having the commitment, and backed by a foundation of empathy to give a human touch to the workforce we are custodians of. Thank you so much. Any parting words from you, Suman? I would want you to talk more
No,
in the
that's
last
fine,
2 or 3
Sweata.
minutes.
I think Sweata, thanks for the offer. I think I would say that I'm delighted to get connected with NHRDN as always. And though I don't stay in Calcutta, but Calcutta chapter is always there in the bottom of my heart. And the executive committee of Calcutta chapter is doing fantastic thing. So I would also wish all the participants for spending time with me here on a Saturday evening. And thanks to NHRDN Kolkata Chapter Executive Committee. Thanks to you, Sweata. I think asking
My pleasure. I'm honored.
pertinent questions, relevant questions. I enjoyed the discussion. And again, my best wishes to everybody. And remember only one thing, what I have told during my discussion: be safe, stay fit, and stay cool. Nothing is going to happen tomorrow. If you lose a job, also you will get another job. It may take 7 days time, 1 month time. So therefore, take life as it comes, stay fit, and stay cool. That's it from my side.
Thank you so much, Suman. And thank you very much to the audience who have come together for today's evening session. Refreshing, definitely, lots to take away and lots to reflect on. Thank you so much. Till we reconnect again very soon. Watch out for your mails and how we are coming together again for the next HR Speak, which will be episode 7 for HR Speak 4 series. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, everyone.
Thank you,
Bye.
Sweata, and everybody. Thank
Thank
you.
you so much, sir. Bye.
Bye.